Shantanu, describe Mr. Ratan Tata in one word.
Kind.
One trait that you have displayed perhaps to have had this journey at the Tata Group.
Curiosity.
I feel like if the world were a binary or a spectrum right now, you would have Elon Musk on one end and Mr. Ratan Tata on the other. A lot of young people today, millennials, Gen Z, would sort of gravitate towards Elon Musk of way of life and way of work. What sort of brings in a person like you to understand more the values and sort of what Mr. Ratan Tata actually stands for?
I think it's more generational than just Mr. Tata. There's been 5 generations of my family. I'm the 5th generation who's working for the Tatas. All the generations before me had regular general roles like an engineer here or a maintenance engineer there, starting from my great-grandfather. So to see all the values planted in an individual won't be the right way to look at it, especially when it comes to the Tata Group. I think it has been a legacy that's been handed down so much. And my family, having been exposed to that over generations, has sort of allowed us to appreciate and respect that more, or have that as a central value system for our family as well. So I think that overlapping legacy where we have always respected and revered the Tatas through not 1 or 2 but 5 generations puts it in a different perspective for us of who we would like to.
Because a lot of younger folks today would give an arm and a leg to be in the position you're in, to be at in midst of this vast pool of not just resources, but also knowledge and wisdom. If you were to talk to me about a couple of traits that led you to this position, which ones would those be?
I think if it all started with the story of motorpoles, it was one was technical and one was emotional. The technical one, which I love to tell people, is that a lot of people say, you ended up where you ended up because you were in the right place at the right time. And I say, yes, absolutely. That's the absolute correct answer, which means that you just need to put yourself in as many situations as possible for you to strike the right one.
We have Narayan Murthy, 72-hour work in a week, compared to one that was mentioned in your book as well. You said that one of the times that you were really held up by Mr. Tata was for actually making calls late in the night.
Right.
So where does that fit in?
I think there cannot be a singular answer because company cultures, entrepreneurship cultures, individual cultures dictate the life of an employee. So for someone to say you should work for these many hours or you shouldn't, and then applying as a blanket rule across companies that have different cultures would not be right. So at the risk of sounding diplomatic, it really comes down to each company and its own culture. If you asked my personal preference, of course, there should be a balance. But if you asked if I myself have balance, no, I personally like to fill in my life with a lot of things. At the same time, I do not like to transfer that on to juniors or people younger to me or in the startup, because I want to give them the right idea of knowing that a job is what you do and it's not who you are.